Hello out there, everybody. Manny here at Area 503. And I hope you all have been well since our last video. Today we're going to be covering some interesting UFO sightings from around the world. The first sighting that we have took place over Santee, California on January 14th, 2020. Let's take a look. Right off the bat, I see the signature red marker lights and consistent rate of travel that indicate to me that this is most likely a satellite. Whoa, here's another one traveling in the same direction. I think I might know what these are. Back in episode 33, we spoke about SpaceX's Starlink program. This program aims to be a permanent constellation of thousands of cube satellites that will bring high-speed internet to a majority of the world. SpaceX has been launching Starlink satellites into orbit ever since May of 2019. The Starlink launches have triggered a massive surge in UFO sightings from around the world. The easiest way to identify these launches are when you see a line of multiple satellites that look as if they're all launched from the same Space Transport System, or STS. So now you guys know what to look out for when you're looking at some UFO sightings. I'll follow up more on the Starlink program in future science and technology updates, so if you're interested in that program, keep your eyes peeled for those videos. However, since I feel like we have identified this particular sighting, let's go ahead and move along to our next UFO sighting, which took place over Leeds in the United Kingdom on February 2nd, 2020. Take a look at this video. We have this strange, dark UFO moving across the sky. It's not moving too fast, and it appears to be moving in one steady direction. I thought at first it could be a bird, but it's way too round for that. It could be a disc UFO, or it could be a Mylar party balloon. Let's try to get a better look at this thing. I think it's safe to rule out a bird here because you see no movement of the wings flapping. It certainly looks like it's wobbling just like a balloon in the wind would. And again, I get the feeling like we are looking at a balloon of some sorts that was just caught in the wind. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. What do you guys think about this? Does it look more like a balloon or more like a flying disc? I honestly could go either way, so I think for now I'm going to go ahead and leave this in the unknown files, and maybe we'll revisit it later if I find something else that looks similar. But for now, let's go ahead and move on to our next sighting, which was sent into Area 503 by a viewer named Jimmy down in San Diego. And I just want to give Jimmy a huge shout out and say thank you so much for sending in that video. We really appreciate you taking the time to send it to us. Let's take a look at the video that Jimmy sent in. This footage was shot on September 24th, 2015, somewhere along Highway 8 in southwestern Arizona by one of Jimmy's neighbors. Check those orb UFOs out.
Wow.
Yeah, those things look crazy, man. What are they? Is that smoke behind them, or is it fog, or some kind of just lens flare? I can't tell. It looks like they're just hovering there, like they're not falling or climbing in altitude.
What?
Wow, that's crazy. Now you get a really good clear shot of these things. This looks very similar to the UFO over Kingsburg that I spoke about in episode 53, except in this sighting you have a large group of these UFOs instead of a single one.
Oh my god.
Watch what happens next.
What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I gotta admit, that's pretty freaky. Look at these things just popping up.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
There are so many.
I know they're everywhere. What is going on? Looks like they're in formation.
Yes, that does look like a formation. You are completely correct. Let's take a better look at this sighting. Here at the beginning, you can see that smoke or fog that I mentioned previously. But I don't think that it is smoke. I think that it's glare from the light of the UFOs. What do you guys think? And here you get a clear shot of the UFOs, and they look so bizarre, just kind of hanging out there in a clump. But they're moving in unison and holding position relative to one another. Watch when more of these things just seem to pop up in a moment. There's another one, and it just appeared out of nowhere, and there is more to come. That's so weird. Take a look at the last part of the video. We get a great perspective on these things just hovering right off the highway, seeming to just hang in the air, and then the first ones start to blink out and are replaced with others that appear. Something about these lights reminds me of some footage that I stumbled across a while back while researching another video. This is the Google Loon project that I've spoken about in previous episodes. Project Loon started back in 2013. When this project first started, these balloons would rise up to about 50,000 feet and then come crashing back down to the earth. Fast forward to today, where Google has refined the technology, allowing the current balloons to stay afloat for months. And they can even control their direction by elevating and lowering the balloons. As you can see in the press photos, these balloons appear illuminated, and when they are spotted in the daytime, they reflect the sunlight and appear as bright, glowing orbs. Check out this sighting over Denver in 2018.
Developing tonight, we got a lot of calls into the Denver 7 newsroom about this next story. We're talking about mysterious lights in the sky over Fort Collins last night.
And turns out Google's Project Loon balloons were making an appearance over northern Colorado. Denver 7's Connor Wist explains what they were doing there and how it could change Wi-Fi as we know it.
Seeing strange white lights in the sky over Fort Collins has many of you and us wondering what they are. Fort Collins police also got a lot of calls about the lights and had a little fun on Twitter, warning people it could be aliens who abduct drunk drivers, so it's best to drive sober. Annie Kellner got it right, asking, Fort Collins, what is in the sky right now? Is this Google Loon?
All of these pictures and sightings of these balloons lit up was making me think that possibly Jimmy's UFO could have been a group of these Loon balloons that were all launched simultaneously and they were testing out the lights on them. But then I realized something. Google balloons are not equipped with lights. That's right, there are no lights on these balloons. These things are completely translucent. And when they appear colored in the press photos, it's because they are staging lights behind them to make them light up and to make it easier to see the definition of the balloon. So now, I don't know what to think. I was almost certain that this was a sighting of multiple Loon balloons being launched at dusk or nighttime. However, after I realized that the Loon balloons have no lights, I have to discount that theory, because Google Loon balloons have absolutely no reason to illuminate in the night. Well, Jimmy, at this point, I'm right back to square one. I have no idea what it is that your neighbor filmed back in 2015. I have to tell you guys, at this point, I was done with this video and I was ready to upload it. But then, I was laying in bed and I was researching another sighting when I stumbled across something. You guys are not going to believe what I just found. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the LUU parachute flare. This particular version of the LUU is launched from an aircraft. Check out this video of an LUU being deployed in the air. I'll put Jimmy's sighting over it, and I want to point out a few things here. Check out the smoke. I remember when I saw Jimmy's sighting first, I thought I saw some smoke at the beginning, but then I convinced myself it was fog or lens flare, perhaps. But now I'm going with my initial gut reaction that was smoke. Next you see when the parachute is fully deployed, this thing has a descent rate of about 4 feet per second, which is pretty slow. And from a distance, I think it would appear that these things were hovering because they were descending so slowly. And finally, you notice the smoke from the flare seems to fill up the parachute, and I think that might be the glowing that we're seeing as the smoke is illuminated from the flare light inside the parachute. This made me wonder if there was a military installation anywhere around. So I dug around a little bit, and I discovered that in the southwest of Arizona, there is indeed an installation by the name of the M Goldwater bombing site. At this practice site, the military routinely trains with military aircraft such as the F-14 Tomcat, the F-16 Fighting Falcon, and my personal favorite, the A-10 Warthog. Wikipedia states that the Barry Goldwater bombing range is used primarily for air-to-ground bombing practice. I checked into some of these planes and confirmed that the LUU parachute flare is indeed included in the weapon racks of some of these planes. Check out this footage of some of these flares being deployed at night. Let's put Jimmy's sighting side by side. These sample flares are shorter burning ones. However, the LUU 2dB illumination flare has a burn time of 4 minutes. So I gotta tell y'all, I really think that that is what Jimmy's neighbor spotted that night, was a bunch of these flares being deployed. This explains why they appear to hover, because they were descending at only 4 foot per second. It also explains why they seem to appear and disappear seemingly out of nowhere. Because it was dark, so you couldn't see the parachute until the flares ignited, and when the flares burned out, they seemed to disappear. And it all ties into the proximity of this nearby bombing range, because these pilots need to be trained in the use of this ordnance in preparation for battlefield use. If I add all of this up, I come to the conclusion that those were LUU illumination flares, most likely. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. And while you're down there, subscribe to the channel. Why not? Once again, I just want to give a huge thank you to Jimmy down in San Diego for taking the time to send in this footage and for sharing your story with us. We all appreciate your efforts. And I am glad to have gotten a chance to help you try to figure out what that was that your neighbor filmed over Arizona. If any of you out there have original footage and you want me to take a look at it, you can email it to us at the email below in the description. I would love to hear from you. Well guys, for now, that's all I have on UFO and UAP sightings from around the world. As always, this has been Manny at Area 503. And I wish you all the best until we meet again. And I am out of here to continue my search for universal truth.